Hi, I'm here to do a character ranking for K-pop Demon Hunters. Um, and there are technically a lot of characters in the film, but I feel like the film only lets us know about the personality of some characters, which I actually think is a good thing because I feel like with boy band group, I feel like if all of them had personalities and storylines, I feel like that would get in the way. And I feel like it's just the one guy that Rumi has a connection to that gets a lot of focus. So I feel like he's the only one of the band that I want to include in my character ranking. Not that the others don't have cool designs or anything, but I feel like ranking a bunch of characters that don't have a lot of development and attention focused on them, I feel like there wouldn't be that much to say. The guy has, I think, what's a bird and a tiger, and they're in a lot of scenes, and like the other members of the boy band, I think they're important, but there's not a lot of character known about them, so I also don't feel like including them. So I have 8 characters to rank. And I like that the film focuses on a smaller group of characters. I think that was actually pretty brilliant to keep the film from being way overcrowded, especially with it being a big introduction for what could become a really great franchise. And on a second viewing, I do feel like I like all of the characters. I feel like there's not a character that's like, oh, that character. Well, I want that character to go away. I don't feel that way about any of the characters in the movie, so I want to make that clear. Number 8, the the guy that the girls go to, I feel like he has to be in last place simply because there's only one big scene where he has a lot of focus. I think he just has a little cameo later on, and I don't think he really does anything outside of that. And if he does, it's nothing too big. Um, but he's a lot of fun. In the big scene that he has, a very entertaining character and not the most trustworthy character, but he has a certain charm to him. I definitely enjoy what he brings to the film, and I do think he's able to have a little bit of a memorable presence without taking away that much time away from the characters that are really important to the story. Um, and I don't feel like he's a pointless character. Because I feel like Rumi needed some help, and even though he didn't provide the most amount of help, I feel like with Rumi's voice getting better and her, I think, needing an excuse to explain how her voice got better, I think the uh, the guy ended up being important, at least for that. 7, Bobby. Even though he's low on the list, he is an enjoyable character, has a likable personality. I like seeing a music character. I think he's the manager. I'm so used to music manager characters being greedy villains, and sometimes that's really entertaining to watch. But there are other times where it can feel like a cliche and it can get old. So it's nice to see Bobby actually being a nice person that genuinely cares about the group. And he does feel like a comedy relief, but a nice, likable comedy relief. I feel like he can't get in the top 6 for me because I feel like there's not a whole lot of story stuff with him, but as a supporting character, I think he serves his role very well. 6, Zoe, and I think a lot of people would uh, have them have Zoe in their top 3, which I think makes a lot of sense for her. I actually appreciate Zoe more on a second viewing. On the first viewing, I didn't really care that much about her. I felt like, oh, the overly happy character that feels kind of bubbly. I feel like it's a character that trait and type of character that can be enjoyable, but it can get old sometimes. But I feel like what helped me appreciate Zoe more on a second viewing is I feel like with her, I feel like kind of having a bit of herself that she's hiding and kind of hiding her insecurities. I feel like that made her feel like more than just like, the character that's really happy and silly. It feels like, there's some complexity to her too. So I definitely appreciate her more now. Number five, uh, the guy that Rumi likes. I forget how to pronounce his name, and I feel like it's kind of a hard name for me to pronounce. But the character himself is really good. He has a lot of backstory. A lot of development is given to him. He has really good interactions with Rumi that I like a lot, and I feel like he's a very fleshed out character. Character with some much of an intimidating presence, but and also a character that can feel tragic, and like he does have a heart that he is seems to be trying to ignore. So I think he's pretty interesting. Even after a second viewing, I do have some questions. The biggest one is like why he abandoned his mother and sister. Like I didn't understand why he couldn't just have them in the palace with him. I feel like if there is a reason, I feel like it wasn't conveyed the best, at least for me, to where even after watching it twice, I don't fully get that. I do think it's really interesting for his backstory. I just wish that it was explained a little bit better, at least for me personally. And also, I'm not the biggest fan of how his storyline ends with the heroic sacrifice because I felt like he and Rumi were really interesting together. I felt like there was more to be explored with him, and I feel like having a character that is misguided a lot of the time and is working for the bad guys but sacrificed himself at the end, I feel like that is something that has gotten a bit old. So I wish that his storyline didn't end like that, at least for the first film. I don't know if he's secretly still around and will come back or anything, but I feel like it was not the best way to end the story. But the character himself is really good and really interesting, but hopefully what I'm explaining is why he's a little bit low. Number four, the demon guy whose name I don't remember how to pronounce, unfortunately, but he has a very cool, intimidating presence. Very manipulative character. I like the storyline about him manipulating the guy that Rumi likes. I think that he serves his role very well as a character that brings out the bad side of the guy, while Rumi is trying to bring out his good side, his heart. And I feel like she has his optimism, while the bad guy has the pessimistic way of looking at things. And I feel like he has a really strong presence in that way. So I think he serves his role well as the main villain of the film. Number three, Celine. And yes, I could understand that Celine is not a very good mother figure, a pretty bad one. And I consider her one of the two main antagonists. Not a flat out villain, but definitely one of the two antagonists, along with the evil demon guy, because of what a bad influence she ended up having on Rumi. But I feel like she's actually more interesting than the demon guy as an antagonist because it really comes across like she genuinely cares about Rumi. And I feel like she wanted to be a good mother figure, but really didn't know how and really had bad, misguided ideas. But I feel like when she's trying to help Rumi cover up and hide, I feel like she did so out of genuine care, and I feel like she did somewhat love Rumi, but not loved her enough, and definitely didn't trust her enough, and definitely didn't trust Rumi's friends enough. So I feel like she's a very fascinating character that could have easily been a flat, like, oh, I don't care about you, Rumi, ugh, disgusting character. I feel like she could have been like that, but I feel like her seeming genuinely concerned for Rumi, I think, helped her feel like a multi-layered antagonist, a character in the wrong, but still tragic and sympathetic. So I really liked that, and I definitely found her even more compelling on a second viewing. Two is Mira. I feel like Mira had to be not ahead of Rumi because I feel like I fell in love with Rumi's journey as a character and loved her personality so much. But I love Mira's personality. I love her style, uh, her gothic sort of appearance, her bluntness. She's a lot of fun. She's really charming. She's a character with a lot of depth to her, and I really like the tension between her and Rumi, where I feel like her and Rumi both have very understandable reasons for doing what they're doing, and they're both incredibly sympathetic and understanding, which I think is great to have when there's two characters in an argument. So I love that about um, her, and I feel like there's more potential to explore Mira even more in the future, and I would love to see her not replace Rumi as the protagonist, but have a major role, even more of a major role than she had in the first film. But already so far, love Mira. But number one is definitely Rumi for me. Definitely one of my favorite movie protagonists now. And both times I watched it, I felt so sorry for her, but really wanted to see her redeem herself, really wanted to see her good side fully come out and see her become a more trusting person, like break free from Celine's uh, bad influence and fully trust her friends and fully be the hero that she could be. She's such a sympathetic character with so much personality. She can be the most serious of the group at times, but have a real strong, clear, fun side and a lot of amusing traits. She's a very fleshed out character. She's very much the focus of the film. I feel like there's no doubt or ambiguity about who the focus is really on, and I love that. And I feel like it could have easily been an overcrowded ensemble film with multiple storylines, and it could have been really overcrowded, but I think focusing on a very personal, intimate journey for Rumi really helps me love the film as much as I do, and I feel like that is what really elevates the film to me, more so than even the visuals. And Rumi is definitely one of my favorite characters now, and certainly my favorite character from K-pop Demon Hunters.